Hello everyone, welcome to RedBust's channel. In this video, we'll look at the ICE operation called OPTical Illusion, which ended up in arresting about 15 F1 OPT students, and we'll look at other aspects as well. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe to our channel for getting regular updates. So this is what we'll cover in this video, some background and what is this and how many are impacted. So this is the news that appeared in ICE website, Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE stands for. So you can check on the website, this is the actual news. So first, for beginners who do not understand what all of this is, we'll cover the basics. So in terms of F1 visa students who are in the US to study, they have a program called OPT. They have few programs basically to getting practical experience. So practical experience is nothing but, you do kind of an internship or on the job kind of experience related to your field. So for that, DHS offers two programs. So one is called CPT and the second one is called OPT. CPT is curricular practical training and optional practical training. So CPT is usually used during the program and usually done for credit. But whereas OPT and STEM OPT, they're used after the degree program. So basically what the rule is that, using these programs, you can work in your relevant fields and get some experience related to your degree so that, you're getting a practical experience. Yeah. So that is the whole purpose of this. And they have put some rules in place to count for unemployment. So for F1 students on OPT, you get 90 days of unemployment during the entire 12 months. And for STEM OPT, which is STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics. So if you're from the degree, your degree program, you are eligible for an additional 24-month STEM OPT program. In that, you are eligible for 150 days of unemployment. And this is cumulative, meaning from the day you get your OPT approved or STEM OPT approved, you get about 90 days in cumulative. So any periods in between that you do not have a job count towards this. So if you exceed these periods of unemployment limits, then you are technically out of status and you need to leave the US. Yeah. So if you overstay, then you're basically in trouble. Now, in terms of compliance, what they do is international students need to update the DSO, designated school official, who's nothing but the international advisor. You can call them whatever but the technical term is DSO. So they need to update DSOs on the employment, their job, and what they're doing, and all of that. So they update all of this information in a system called USCIS system, Student Exchange Visitor Information System. This has all the details, and USCIS system is like the core system that is used by ICE, DHS, and USCIS for all sorts of compliances. Yeah. And recently, in August of this year, they sent a reminder to all the students telling that hey, you need to maintain these information in USCIS. If you do not have data, that means that your unemployment is counted. So it does not matter you are working but you did not update, then you are actually counted towards that. So this is the email that was sent in August 28th. You can see, without this information, students could be viewed as having failed to obtain unemployment and potentially be considered out of status for exceeding permissible periods of unemployment. Yeah, I mean, in short, essentially, you need to update. If not, you're going to be counted as unemployed and you're going to be subject to that violation. So this is a caution that they gave back in August. Now that you have some background, let's look at what this operation is and what exactly happened. So this operation called OPTical Illusion, it's OPT ICL, right? It's an innovative way to name a program. OPTical Illusion, it's part of the Homeland Security investigation. They call it HSI unit. This is part of the Customs Enforcement unit, and this operation called OPTical Illusion was aimed at enforcing compliance of OPT program because of all these unemployment limits and all of that. So they use this program to make sure then they're everybody are in compliance. Yeah. So this was started back in January of 2020, and the goal of this was to analyze all the OPT employers who are involved in this kind of a fraud. And the OPTical Illusion, the process that they followed in this is they analyzed the list of OPT employers. You need to, because the service system has its details anyways. So they analyze all of these OPT employers and identified the ones that are not legitimate or somebody they think they're involved in fraud, and then they'll pass to the ground teams. Yeah. So on the ground, the HSI unit has field officers. So they basically take these leads and then go take to next steps. So HSI got about 168 leads based on the analysis, and they sent to these HSI field field officers for next steps. So HSI field officers, basically they investigated the companies and they contacted the students in that school, in that company, and checked if they're on OPT, what they're working, and verified, so that all of these were done as part of the investigation. And eventually after that, they were able to arrest about 15 people who were 15 students who were non-compliant or who were actually violated all of these status things. Now, in terms of arrest details, so these are all the areas they arrested in: Boston, Washington DC, Houston, Fort Lauderdale area, Newark, Nashville, Pittsburgh, and Harrisburg. So these are all the areas where they arrested in. And in terms of nationalities, there are about 11 Indian nationals, 2 Libyan, 1 Senegalese, and 1 Bangladeshi national. So this is the nationality of the students. And other details that were reported by the director was there were about 22 students of this investigation who have left the country, and 11 have returned to another SEVIP schools, and 29 are moved to new OPT employers, and 18 are pending immigration benefit. Basically, they applied for a benefit. This could be H-1Bs or some other people, right? So they are pending an immigration benefit with USCIS, and 7 students have obtained new valid status, and 18 of them moved to a new areas of responsibility. I mean, that's it's another technical term, and about 41 students are yet to be located, and they say that they will actually find these 41 people and they will do extreme vetting and locate them and enforce them. So these are all the details shared in the press briefing. Now the second part is about USCIS revoking OPT EADs, right? So initially when DHS started this entire initiative, they had about 3,300 F1 OPT students that they reviewed. And of that, they were able to contact and trace about 2/3 of the students, and they verified that they were to be incompliant. And of the remaining 1/3, which is about 1,100 students, they found that they were in violation of status due to various reasons. It could be that they're unemployment, or they're not working in the same field, or they're involved in fraud, or they exceeded their days of unemployment. So it could be any of these reasons. Yeah. Bottom line is they're all non-compliant and in violation of status. So these 1,100 students on F1 OPT are technically out of status, and OPT and USA is going to revoke all of this. So of that 1,100, they're revoking 700 OPT EADs for these students because they are still, they have significant time left in them, but they're not doing that for the remaining 400 because they're nearing towards the end of their OPT, so they're just going to ignore that 400 people. So overall, 700 people will get revoked notices from USCIS telling that their EADs are revoked and they need to leave the country. And again, they say that this is only phase 1, and this is an ongoing investigation, and there could be more things coming out of it. Now, another important aspect is it's actually the DSOs who have to manage all of these things and make sure some of these programs are executed properly and in compliance. So some of these DSOs did not do their jobs well, and it was willful ignorance, as they say in the press brief, right? So they say that some of these DSOs would be impacted, and they may remove them from their roles. So that's what they plan to do. So again, we need to see what comes out of it. Now, how many could be impacted, or how many are still in this thing, right? Now, I mean, I would rather look at data than doing speculations. So let's look at some stats, right? So this is the top 200 employees from 2019 for OPT and STEM OPT. If you see the list of these companies on the screen, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Intel, Apple, all of these are reputed companies. So they have thousands of employees, and having 1,000, 2,000 of them is not a big deal. But if you look at some weird companies like Aztec Technologies, Integra Technologies, so many of these names that you have never heard, and they are the number 3 or number 5 or number 8, whatever, right? So these are the companies that actually are subject to scrutiny. So definitely, I mean, I don't even know if these companies are really legitimate or not. So these are the companies. So, and if you look at 2018, you see Integra, Integra and Aztec had about 2,000, 2,000, other one is 100, another 1,000, right? So I mean, just to add up, these are going to be in thousands. These are just the top 20 I'm just showing, but there could be like a lot of them, that have been part of this fraud. So there was an NBC investigation that was done. This Telon trading did not even exist, in the list. So, and again, there were, information that came earlier this year that some of these students who were part of these companies got, visa revoke notices, and there was a big, lots of information circulating around, and some was even exposed or shared on the website of Reddy and Newman law firm as well. So all of these things are going to be really impacted. Yeah. So you need to be very, very careful. Now, in terms of, if you look at the overall conclusion, so this is just the phase one. So we may see more arrests, more deportations, more of these revokes coming in. So rule number one, you always need to be compliant and never violate your status and never engage in anything that is not legal. So, there are situations where you will be in a corner that, you will be in a situation where you need to make some decisions and not, and sometimes it's tempting, and some of the people who engage in illegal activities, but never engage in anything as such, because it's going to haunt you and you'll jeopardize your entire career in the US. So do not engage in such programs. So there are similar programs that are subject to scrutiny in the past. So those are day one CPT programs. So there have been many arrests in the past, deportations in the past, and day one CPT programs. So if you're ever going to be part of any of these kind of not legal programs, you always have to be careful. Now, if you think you're going to be if you are involved in any of these things, you believe that you did something wrong, you should talk to an attorney and plan your options, because you are in trouble. So just be careful, talk to an attorney, and make plans to exit the country or take the suggestions. So again, it's kind of sad. Some students are involved in this because of various reasons. We don't know their condition, but it's sad that end of the day, it's the students, right, who came to the country to do something, were involved in this kind of situations. So be careful and stay compliant. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe for getting regular updates.